Thanks to the supporters of channel member Jack Sorbers. I don't really know what the plan is for this summer. I'm running out of ideas. This is hard. 3 years now we've been stuck in the championship. I kind of need to know how much money you're going to give me. What, you're going to tell me the money before we've even done the season review? Yeah, well, hold on. We'll have a look at budgets before we've even gone into the season review. This is going to dictate whether or not we have to sell Renan or Alex Williams. Are you going to give me some money to spend? Yeah, we'll click it together. 3, 2, 1. So we've got to sell everybody then. Hello and welcome to part 75 of Homegrown. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our season review and transfer special, and we have no money at all. As you can see, we are massively overdrawn. That should rectify itself as soon as prize money and things like that starts to come through. So I'm not massively alarmed about that, I don't think. I am quite alarmed about this, though, because we're already over the wage budget that's just been set. So if we bring ourselves back within the wage budget, it removes all transfer budget, and our committed spending is still over budget. We've talked about this summer approaching for a number of years now. It is finally here. After the pathetic performance we had in the league this year, finishing in 13th place, this is the year where we're going to have to sell to buy. And there's no, oh, look, we managed to keep hold of everybody and we've got a few youngsters coming through. If that's what I'm saying to you at the end of this video, I bottled it. We need to sell 1, 2, 3 of our star players. We need to be bringing in 20, 25 million pounds worth of money and reinvesting it. That's a big problem. We only get 15% of our retained transfer revenue. But we'll figure that out. Oh no. So that means if we sell Williams for 10 million, we're only going to get 1.5 million to spend. And we won't get a goalkeeper as good as Williams. See, I'm already talking myself out of it, because we won't get a keeper as good as Williams for 1.5 million. So we'd just be downgrading the team. Although obviously we would be adding 8.5 million to the balance. So then the next person we sell, so if we were to then sell Renan a few weeks later, we'd get to keep a higher percentage of that. So that's what I mean about potentially having to sell more than one. I think the first one fixes the financial problem, and then it's the second one that we can potentially reinvest in rebuilding this squad. But remember, that's a rebuild while sticking to our own rules of having to sign players aged 18 or under. We talked an episode or two ago about how much we need to discover someone like a Simon Patton, who we got in non-league to legend this year at aged 18 when we were in the championship with Peterborough, who got championship top scorer in his first season for us and led us to promotion. That's the kind of player we need to be discovering this summer. But as we said in the episode where we talked about him, he did cost us £750,000. It wasn't that he just arrived on a free transfer. He was a very, very expensive signing. He would be, someone like that would be our record signing comfortably. Joe Barr at the moment is our current record signing, and I think around 450,000. So we are not exactly on a level playing field here financially. I'm not sure why we're not getting into the season review either. See, that's a beautiful thing to see just appear on there. As I'm about to hit continue, let's just jump in and check Alex Williams' new 5-year deal that he's signed. I know we've got to sell him, but the fact that he's been tied down to that means that we should at least get a little bit more money for him now. His flat value is now at 5 million. That's without us fiddling with it and adding extra on. He's earning loads more money than he was before. He's got a 5-year contract. He's a future Premier League goalkeeper, current England under-21 international. I'm doing the sales pitch now. We should, if we had a decent reputation as a club, we should be getting 20, 25 million pounds for him. It's going to be very interesting to see what kind of offers we get as and when offers start coming in. The other players who are attracting interest: Alec Lay, Mackenzie Fulton, Euron Hughes, Tommaso Zebi. These aren't really the players who are going to make us big money that I was hoping to see. We can't manufacture the offers. If the offers don't come in, then it will have to be another year of just developing the youth through. I just don't know how successful that's likely to be. I'll be back when we hit the season review. I don't know why we're not there yet. Here we go then. Season review time. It's going to be a bit of a miserable one because it was a pretty miserable season. So I don't think we're going to dwell on it for too long. Signing of the season has gone to Yuri Yarabek, which I think I can get on board with. Cost us less than £50,000. He's still only 18 years old. He's not spectacular yet. He's one of those. I mean, he's one of the 8 or 9 players in this squad now who have got Premier League potential. So on that basis alone, that makes him a good signing, and he is still very young. We achieved what we were supposed to achieve. Mrs Wearmouth was looking for mid-table. We finished 13th, which is effectively mid-table. 81% of our home attendances now, so we're probably still not going to be able to expand the ground, even if money starts to come in. The league table doesn't really bear looking at. 23 points behind Sheffield United, 33 points behind West Brom in second place. Remember, the last couple of years, we've been in the conversation for automatic promotion until the business end of the season. Not so this year. And financially, it's been an absolute disaster as well. With not just us falling into our biggest overdraft we've had in quite a long time, but also all these numbers are lower. Sponsorships went up a little bit, but broadcast revenue's down massively. So's corporate and hospitality. Prize money's down hugely, and even match day revenue is dropping. This is all because we've not really had a cup run. We've not had any exciting games to play in. It's been a problem. Shirt sales-wise, it's still Harrison Davies selling more shirts than anybody, along with Renan, Jessup, Charles, and Cannon. I mean, that in itself screams we need an injection of a new star, because their names have all been in the team for 4 or 5 years. Now, even Renan has been knocking around the place for 3-4 years at the very least. The rest of them are in their mid-20s, having made their debuts when they were 18. And we're a 2.5-star reputation club now, which I think we've been for a year or two. So that should allow us to at least charge competitive transfer fees now. And this was our team of the year. Williams in goal, a backfour of Hall, Barr, Davies and Brewerton, Curry and Hodgkinson in midfield, Hamilton, Roberts and Hughes behind Jessup up front. It doesn't look like a team that's going to get promoted from the Championship. It needs a massive shake-up. I'm just not sure how we shake it up with no money and only being able to sign teenagers. Jessup won Player of the Year. Williams Young Player of the Year. Yarabek signing of the season, as mentioned before. Goal of the season also went to Jessup, who was top scorer, but on a much lower total than usual, only 15 goals. Renan most assists with 12, and most man of the matches and highest average rating both goes to Alex Williams. We didn't set any competition records. We did break a couple of our club records. Tommy Jessup scoring the new record for most goals in a match and most league goals in a match, because he got, bearing in mind he only scored 15 all season, he scored 4 in one game there. And Harrison Davies just extending his own most league appearances for the club, now up to 292 league appearances for our now 25-year-old captain. My director of football suggesting getting rid of some fringe players, which, I mean, it's one way to do it. We need to make a decision probably by the middle of June. We need to be doing this well before free transfer day, and it's going to be dictated based on what offers we get. If we're not getting that big offer for that big player, then we've got to get rid of the fringes again, because we've got to at least generate enough money to be able to bring in some free transfers at the very least. We need some new faces, some fresh blood. But we can't even afford to do that because we've already maxed out the wage budgets before we've even got to free transfer day. So let's see what Mrs Wearmouth is looking for. Is she adding anything new on here? This is all staying the same as it was. She wants me to work within wage budget, sell players for a profit, and crucially, sell players before buying. She's looking for a top half finish in the Championship every year for the next 5 years. I mean, it's something we can deliver. We could probably do that forever. But it's not what we want for this series. We've got to find a way. And it's going to take that special player. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a special player who we discover. It might be this summer. It might be next summer. There'll be that special player who carries us to the Premier League. And once we get there, I think the series becomes much easier again once you're in the Premier League, because you can just start hoovering up wonder kids because the money flows so nicely. This is the test now. We've got to make the breakthrough, and we've got to do it soon. Going to be hard. End of season team meeting. Yes, we want to finish in the top half, which is the top half option. I wish they removed all of these words and just made it really easy to see. I'll click mid-table. There you go. That was near enough. Everyone seems happy enough. New season team report. We already know all of this. It's interesting that the players, because this is Sam Swan, my personal assistant. This is his opinion on my best 11 going into next season. It includes Zebi, Blamplate and Roberts. No room for Jessup, no room for Davies. As we've identified ourselves, the big weakness is the fullbacks, Brewerton and Hall. Both really could use an upgrade. We have got a couple of left backs coming in this summer. In fact, there's quite a few players. I didn't realise I'd arranged to sign so many players. Be interested to see what they look like when they arrive, and then we'll take things from there. Thank you. I mean, I can't put into words how important that is. £4.3 million covers every penny of debt that we had at the club, and then some. Hold on. Let's have a look through the money. £1.2 million in the black now. I don't know how the wage budget's continuing to get worse, but can I sneak in? We're looking for percentage of transfer revenue. That's the important thing that we want to increase. So let's see if we can bump that up. I'm not going to mess around with facilities this summer. We've done that before. I think we need to be thinking a little bit more short term. Although I am so tempted to try and expand the stadium. I don't think she's going to be able to do that for us. You know what? Training facilities. Let's see what she says. I don't think we've got the money to do any of this stuff, but let's see if she agrees to any of it. Come on, Mrs Wearmouth. We need you to really come through here. So we've not been able to increase the percentage of transfer revenue or expand the stadium, or, I mean, she's not on the phone anymore. I'm not as grateful as I was previously. Every year he says he's not going to do it, and every year he does it again. We have a bunch of youngsters that have arrived on free transfers from Premier League sides. They've all got Bs, interestingly, so I wonder if we've got a good batch this year. Michael Gallagher, I tell you what, good batch. 18-year-old Scottish right midfielder, can also play central midfield, attacking midfield, right wing, 1.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. He's in from Tottenham. If they're all as good as him, this is promising stuff. Does it mention Premier League on here? No, never mind. We've got Jose Masibe, who's an Equatorial 18-year-old striker. 4 caps already for him. 1.5-star current ability. Only the 3.5-star potential ability. He's got 16 finishing, though. He's in from Arsenal. I don't think he's going to be the answer to our attacking prayers. Watch him go and be now, the rascal. We've got Elfyn Goldston, who's an 18-year-old Welsh under-19 international central midfielder. This looks a little bit more like it. An 18-year-old with 17 first touch and 5-star potential, 1.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. Still no mention of Premier League. He'll get there. He's in from Liverpool. And then we've also got James Kennedy, who's an 18-year-old central midfielder, left midfielder, wing back, left winger. 1.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. Again, we're not mentioning the Premier League, but good championship players. I mean, we're not a good championship side yet, so I guess they're still handy. And then Abdullah Mason is an 18-year-old Trimbagonian international player, central midfielder, 11 international caps already, 1.5-star current ability, 4-star potential ability, and he's in from Arsenal. You know what? They're not the worst young players we've ever brought in. That looks like a very good batch. And there's still a couple of others due to come in as well on the 1st of July, or it might not even be the 1st of July. I think we've got a couple of European ones who we're just waiting for their 18th birthdays, because that's one of the things we are going to have with foreign signings as we move deeper into the save. They can't actually join us until they turn 18. So we've got a couple. If we have a look, looks like there's an offer in for Eli Campbell that I've not noticed yet. We'll get to that in a second. But these two, so Gabrielle Strecker, I guess we are waiting for the 1st of July for him. He's a left back coming in from Stuttgart. And then Ramses Crespo, we are waiting until his 18th birthday. So he can't actually come in until the 2nd of January. But he's a defensive midfielder. Who looks like he's going to be very, very fancy indeed. He's already as good as Joe Barr as a defensive midfield player. Already apparently as good as, potentially as good as Nathan Curry as a central midfielder. Would love to have him in now, but can't have him until he's 18. We need more like that. They're the kind of players we need to be finding more of. And we've actually spent a fee on him as well. I don't have any recollection of doing that. It must have been before I was sick, and I just don't remember him. But well done, past Kev. What a hero you are. Right, we have offers in for Eli Campbell. These are not the offers I envisaged for Eli Campbell. He's worth £500,000. He goes for at least that, if not £1 million. Likewise, I don't want to let Mackenzie Fulton go out on loan. He needs to make it with us or fail. They're basically his options at his age. He's, I think, 19, about to turn 20. Turns 20 in July. If Mackenzie Fulton doesn't start performing for us, I mean, 0 goals last season, then there's little benefit in loaning him out at this point. He's still theoretically a potential Premier League striker. He needs to maybe, score a goal this coming season. He has got to be our future as a striker. But we did get another £5 million thrown at us from competition pennies that we were expecting to come through as well. We're still well over our wage budget, so we do still need to sell before we can buy, which is very problematic. But at least the new players that came in are quite good. That we're starting to get a silver lining on our cloud. Well, we're finally selling a player, Chris Stone, who's been hovering around the place for a few years now. He came through our youth team back in the 24-25 season, had a little bit of time out on loan at Chorley, at Cheltenham. He was around the first team squad last season. There you go. I was going to say, I don't think I started him. I started him 3 times. But at 20 years old, his specialism is as a defensive midfielder, which I know we were using the diamond towards the end of the season, but I don't think we're going to use a defensive midfielder a lot going forward. In central midfield, I think we have better options. To be honest, defensive midfield would potentially have better options. We've got Bar, we've got Akani who can play there, of course, who came through the same youth team, and he's definitely the one I'd rather keep out of the two. Stone has got potential to be a decent championship defensive midfielder in the future. We'll hopefully be beyond that once we get to the future. And the main reason is we've also got Luke Camilleri still knocking around the place, if we can find him. There he is. Luke Camilleri, who can also play as a ball-winning midfielder in central midfield. If you ignore the fact that he's a defensive midfielder and just compare the two, Camilleri's a couple of years younger. Stone's got the edge on him defensively, but at 2 years younger and Camilleri with Premier League potential, it seemed like the time for Stone to move on, especially because we were offered £1.5 million up front, plus a 30% sell-on, plus other add-ons to potentially take it up to £2.5 million. And Mrs Wearmouth generously agreed to let us retain 70% of our revenue, which means by selling him, we can bring £1.1 million in, which for somebody who was our... let's have a look. 7th choice centre-back, 3rd choice defensive midfield, a role we don't really use, and 8th choice central midfielder who's only ever started 3 games for us. Yes, he's the kind of player who would have been useful to keep around, but he's also the kind of player who could conceivably never get in the team and be released on a free transfer in 4 years' time. So we're taking the money now. Because he came through our youth system, he is homegrown at club. So if he does go on to have an incredible career, he's one of those that we can bring back. I don't feel the need to loan him back now because he wasn't in the team. But we can certainly keep an eye on him as his career progresses. And if a time comes where it makes sense to bring him back, we'll bring him back. But for now, it does mean that once that transfer goes through, Harrison Davies has got a grumpy on about it, apparently. What's the matter, Harrison? We're going to ask... I'm asking Mark Wearmouth to deal with it, apparently. What is going on? Why is Mark Wearmouth suddenly involved in dealing with things again? He's dealt with it, but why is Mark Wearmouth the man who's dealing with it? I've never known a member of the staff get involved in calming down a player before, especially as Wearmouth's still not assistant manager again. But the important thing is that means we can now go into free transfer day on the 1st of July with some actual money in the bank. We're going to have to shuffle some of the wages around a little bit, which takes care of a lot of it, which is a real shame. But we could potentially bring somebody in for free or maybe spend a little bit of money. It had to be done, and I don't think it's weak in the squad, but it does sting a little bit to do it. I like keeping my youngsters around. And we've started spending the Chris Stone money. First player in is Colin O'Hara, who's an 18-year-old Scottish left winger, 2-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. We needed strength in the wide areas, and he was one of the best. He was one of the best young players we could find who was in a reasonable enough price range. So let's give him a little pat on the head, welcome him in, 5-star potential. That's what we like to see. And we've spent most of it now because we've got to adjust budgets again, and there's not much left. And anyone who's really good. Hold on, we just had a batch come in, but as you can see, most of them, we are still trying to search for 15 to 18-year-olds, but the majority that come through are still older than that. That is kind of disregarded. He's going to be available on a free transfer in a few days, so I'll keep him scouted because he was showing us having compensation. But if we have a look to see what we've actually got, prices are so expensive. If we have a look at current ability, there's no one we can really afford. I mean, this guy, Saw Vanak, we could potentially afford. It looks like he's not particularly well scouted yet. Yeah, we've only got 14% scouting knowledge on him, so he needs a big amount of extra scouting before we can take the plunge on him. Likewise, some of these other players. If we look by scout recommendations, we've already signed the one that was in sort of the top 10 on here. Ross Burt is in there as a right back. And we kind of do need a right back. But do we want to spend crazy amounts of money on what's effectively going to be a backup right back initially? We don't really. This is a problem we're going to have. We need to scout some more of these players, but realistically, I think transfers this summer are probably going to be free transfers unless we sell somebody else. It's the 1st of July, and the first piece of news on the 1st of July is Gabrielle Strecker is in, our 18-year-old German who doesn't have a work permit. Whose idea was this, Past Kev? You moron, what use is this guy? Just what a waste of time. We'll apply for a work. He's probably not going to get one, is he? Unless he'd already have one. Well, what a waste of time. Well, let's see if we can get some free transfers, even though we've got no money because some pay rises have gone through. So we're just, I'm going to go and have my lunch. I can't do this. Well, transfers might be still problematic. They are still problematic, but we have just had a brilliant performance in the Wearmouth Cup, winning all 3 games against Feyenoord, Slavia Prague and Olympiacos. We beat Olympiacos 7-0. Maybe this little group of young players that are now a year older have all done a Mick Powell simultaneously. That would be perfect if they had. Transfer-wise, like I say, there's really nothing else going on. We've sold Njarstad to Crystal Palace at 22 years old. He was never going to be good enough to play in goal for us. And we've added Stephen Reed to our first team squad, who came through the youth team a couple of years ago. Actually, on his coach report, it does mention potential to be a Premier League goalkeeper in the future. So for the first time since Alex Williams existed, I'm not completely terrified if Alex Williams leaves. Of course, there's nobody in for him at the moment, but we've actually got another potential Premier League goalkeeper coming through. Not close to the same current ability as Williams, so it'd still be a blow if Williams left. But we do now have a continuity plan in goal. We've brought a couple of more youngsters up from the development squad as well. Andrew Mccarten is a 19-year-old Northern Irish under-21 international with 5-star potential. Another one of the future Premier League brigade. Another one who came through our youth system, has been out on loan for a couple of years. Eastleigh and Wrexham in the National League. He's now going to be our backup left-back with a view to him really pushing Andy Hall hard for that starting left-back spot this season. At the moment, he's considered 2 stars with Hall and Campbell at 2.5 stars. If Mccarten can be as good as his potential suggests he can be, by the end of the season, we might have a new first-choice left-back. And we've also brought up Daniel Onyango, who's a 20-year-old English right-winger, 2.5-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. He's as good as Micah Hamilton on the right-hand side of midfield. He's not quite got the same oomph as a right-winger that the likes of Renan or Hughes might have. But it's now or never for him. He was out on loan in League 2 last year. If he's ever going to be good enough for us, it's going to be this season. So let's give him a try in the first team squad. We've put Blamplate and Camilleri back down into the under-23s for now. They're both still only 18. And I think they might be better placed playing a lot of under-23 games or going out on loan this season. I might change my mind yet, but I'm trying to avoid having too much of the really... I don't want to have 17, 18-year-olds in the first team squad not playing for us, but also not playing for anyone else. So those players, like I say, Blamplate and Camilleri are the 2 obvious ones who were in the first team squad for large parts of last season, but are both still only 18 and effectively just had a season where they missed out on playing football. I'm kind of thinking loan them out while they're 18, get them back next year at 19 and try and get them back into the first team squad, potentially as starters then. Basically what Andrew Mccarten has done over the last couple of years. But that's the first team squad as it looks currently. we've got no money left. We've got no money left. There's no way to sugarcoat it, make it sound fancy. Just by renewing contracts, we've spent all of that lovely money that we got from Stone. This is the first team squad as it currently stands. It does look like there's decent strength in depth. I think we are going to be going, who the hell is this guy? George Francis. Wow, he joins us in August, apparently. I wonder if he's going to get a work permit. Well, we might have a really good left back coming in. I hadn't even noticed him. But him aside, we are looking pretty strong. I think we are going to do the 4-2-3-1 that didn't really work last year. It just seems to make the most sense for the players that we've got. But we'll see. I guess we're really rolling the dice on them having had a year to get better. Team cohesion, club atmosphere, managerial support, all very, very good. There's nobody unhappy. We've had a good summer. So hopefully we can go into the new season in a little bit of form. And that Wearmouth Cup really has filled me with a little bit of confidence in the players that we've already got. Hopefully not misplaced confidence. It's that time again when we can fiddle with bonuses and suddenly give ourselves some budget. So let's take bonuses down to low and all of a sudden, huzzah, we have budgets. Let's go sign a couple of players. Well, it turns out we couldn't find anybody to sign, so we've just thrown all of our money at improving our youth level again. It's costing us £4 million to do. It'll go through by January, and hopefully it'll just lead to us getting even better young players coming through than the ones that we ordinarily get. It takes us back up to, I don't know, does it affect the youth facilities? I'm not sure that it does, but it does take us up to a youth level 2. Is that right? No, it's talking about youth facilities. I clicked that one by mistake. I asked for youth level. They've given me youth facilities. I'm not going to argue. We already have a nice little conveyor belt coming through. If this improves the quality of them, awesome. It's cost us £4 million to do, so it needs to produce us £4 million worth of player fairly quickly. But fingers crossed, eh? I don't end up regretting that. Well, looks like we're going to find out quite early on this season how good the new young goalkeeper is. Alex Williams going to miss the first month of the season with a twisted ankle. I guess it does protect us from him leaving during that first month. And you know what? That's how he got his break in the team all those years ago when Captain Cartwheel got injured. Williams took his spot mid-season and never really looked back. So it's Reed, the new guy, isn't it? Stephen Reed. If Reed ends up half the player Alex Williams is, we might come to the end of this 3 to 5 week twisted ankle period thinking, maybe we can sell him. He's still labelled as the next Peter Shilton, I think. The next Peter Shilton. So there should be massive money for Alex Williams at some point down the line. We now it's all eyes on Stephen Reed for these first couple of games of the season. He's capped at England under-19 level. He is no slouch, even if I may not have noticed him. I mean, he was sat in a development squad. It's fine. So if we just have a look at the comparison between the two of them, obviously Williams absolutely dominating for distribution, shot stopping and physicals, but Reed's actually better in the air, 6'3" against 6'2", better aerial ability. And they're very similar for eccentricity, communication, mentals, speed. It's just these bits, and these bits, I would suggest that these are bits that could potentially be trained into him over the next 2 years. I wonder, and I don't know, this might even be a thing you can do. I'd be really interested in doing a comparison of 19-year-old Alex Williams against Stephen Reed, because it could be that there's very little between the two of them when it comes to how good they're going to be eventually. And that brings us to the end of the summer, and I think this is going to be the team that is going to start the season tomorrow against Middlesbrough. So Reed's going to obviously come in goal. We've got the next one on the conveyor belt coming up onto the bench. Channel member Tristan McDonald, another 4.5-star potential ability goalkeeper. So looks like we've become a bit of a goalkeeper factory all of a sudden, which is very nice. And we haven't really been able to upgrade the fullbacks, which less nice. Obviously, we've got Mccarten, who's going to have the opportunity to try and push in on either side. Really, he's an either-footed right back, left back, or right back, I guess, who's a natural wing back in both positions. So actually, I don't know which side he's going to push through on yet. It might end up being at right back. The fact he can do both means he's probably going to be part of this squad for a long time to come. Joe Barr's signed a new contract this summer, so he's got he's on a new big pile of cash and is going to be around for a while to come yet. We'll go with Davis initially and Lay in midfield alongside Curry, just to have some proper midfield crunch with Lay and Curry in there. We're finally going to go with Renan as a starter on the left-hand side, which supposedly is his best position, although we've played him on the right wing so often, he's now natural there. But all the time, yeah, it's still described in here as potential to be a Premier League left winger. So let's get him out on that left-hand side, cutting in. Kieran Hodgkinson's going to be up front, Connor Roberts in there, and then Hughes out on that right-hand side. It is, I know, a very similar team to the one that ended last season, but you saw how little money we had to spend and how little options there are. We've done what we can. The real question is Stephen Reid going to be any good? And we'll find that out in tomorrow's video. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.